Welcome. Okay, I think we're live. Yay. Welcome to January, to a brand new year. I cannot believe it. Oh, how these years go by so quickly. And I was just thinking about it. I've been doing these energy reports now for 2 years. This is going to be going into my third year, and this is one of my favorite offers that I do for free every month because it's just such a great way to tune into the energy of how things are. And these are not meant to be an astrological guide, although I do sprinkle in some astrology because I am a astrology buff and I just love it. But it's more about the energy, how the energy can support you in your soul's growth and evolution so you can see through things through the lens of your soul, but also um, how to be in best relationship with yourself. And so I think that these reports I have come to, I often, because I don't always remember everything that I talk about in these specific reports, like I'll like channel everything. And if you've ever received information, it's like a stream of consciousness, right? It's not like you're like sitting and thinking about every single thing that comes through. And I go back myself and I'll listen to the videos, and I have them always on my YouTube channel, and they're always bookmarked. So you can always find them on, under the Soulcast and Energy Report, but they're also like time stamped. So if you just want to skip ahead to a specific week, they're there for you. So it's really great. If you guys, I think I have, hi Rochelle. Can you just let me know if you can hear me? Okay, I just want to make sure that I am streaming through okay. If you're new to me, my name is Donnell. I've been doing mentorship and coaching from the lens of soul and through relationship with self and with others for lots of years now. And I've been channeling for over 15 years. I've done thousands and thousands of readings. I don't just specialize in readings anymore, I do more coaching. But the reason I do these is because I'm adept at being able to read the collective energy, and it's so fun. So, okay, perfect. Okay, yay! You guys can hear me. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to grab my cards and I'm going to see. So, I just want to do a quick recap of something. So, December was a month of completions, and I'm so curious if you want to share, what in the comments, what was something that came to completion for you? Even if you're listening to the replay of this, I would love to hear. I know there's just so much karmic completions of things that maybe you'd been working on for years, maybe a huge portion of your life. And when we're able to have a karmic completion like that of some big long held belief or story, a way that we've been operating in our reality, it creates so much space. And so I want to celebrate you in the fact that, even just like the last year, I mean, every year we never know the medicine that the year is going to hold. We think it might be one thing and then it turns out to be another. How many times have you thought, when I channeled, for instance, that completion piece, I think it was the week of Christmas, I felt a huge completion energy coming in. And I was like, I thought for my own personal life, it was going to be something very specific. The joke was on me. And something did come to completion, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I think that we always have to remember that we are being divinely guided. And although something may seem, painful, or it seems like it's presenting as an obstacle or a challenge, that when we look back, like look back at all the times in your life, look back at even just these last few years, everything that's transpired and how much you've grown if you've allowed yourself to be a participant, which in the arena, which means you're not looking at everything from the lens of ego, but really the soul and how much growth you've experienced. And when you go through a completion of some sorts and you really close up a year and you close up some energy, what's so beautiful is I want you to imagine that you have this, like blank chapter in front of you. And one of my practices that I'm stepping into for, of course, I want to do intentions and all that kind of stuff. But more importantly, I've been thinking about who do I want to become by the end of this year? Like, who is that woman or man for you? Whoever's listening to this. And I am going to sit and really journal about her and what she's going to be, accomplish, do, have by the end of this year. And I'm going to get to know her so intimately that I can form an identity based on her, because there's a gap. Like, I'm not her. Like, I'm going to be changing and evolving. And instead of creating these like intentions of like it has to be this or it has to look like that, or I've done that so many times in my life, so many times, and I've gotten close, but sometimes I didn't accomplish the thing, and that's okay. I always try and show up for it. But this year I'm going to do it differently, and I'm really going to think about who am I becoming? What does that look like in my finances, in my faith, in my family, in my fitness, those four main areas. And I'm going to write about it, like I said, and then I'm going to really get to know her, and then make the energy of what does that look like for me present day, right here, right now. So I just want to share that with you because maybe it'll be helpful for you. But I want to celebrate anything that you came to completion on, that you opened up space and really surrendered. Because the last week of December, I remember I got the sacrifice card, which is really a card of surrendering to what is and allowing things to move and shift. And right now we're in Mercury retrograde, so things are going to be shifting and giving us a time, like these first few weeks, like this is a quieter start to the year, and I really invite you to embrace that. Like, if you're feeling okay, I got to get out there and I got to change things today, make sure you're clear about what you want to change. That's why I offer that exercise to start with, because if you just go out guns a-blazing and just start doing things from a place of scarcity or lack consciousness, it may bite you in the ass, or you might find that later on, a month or two later, you're going to have to go back and kind of revise what you did. So I want you to use these few weeks until Mercury retrograde is over, which I believe is the 18th, to really just be in the energy of what you want this year to look like, who you want to be. And then also, Mars is our planet of action. It's in retrograde, and it's not going to go forward until the 12th. So truly, until like the last weeks of, after the 18th, then we're going to find momentum. But until then, use this time to really spend being present with what is and what you really want to shift, and come up with a game plan. Come up with an actionable game plan of who you get to be and what you get to do to align with your destiny. Okay, so for January, let's tune into the energy of what it's going to be. Okay. Well, how perfect is that? Patience and planning. My lame chuckles. But I always, it's like I always have to laugh because it's like, yeah, I just said that, didn't I? No. It's so funny when I do coaching. Sometimes people are like, I want you to channel for me, because I'm known for my channeling. I'm like, I am channeling. Like, even though I'm just having a conversation, and I'm still channeling. And you know what's so funny about this card is it's a 7, which is the numerology for this year. 7 being a year of going internal, working on your frequency, really stepping into your psychic gifts, your sovereignty of who you want to be. It's not so much of a year of a lot of outward things happening, but just really, working from the inside out. And there also is your personal year. Like, this is a personal year 8 for me in numerology. So it's actually the complete opposite, where it's like, it's my power year. It's like, go. So 7-year overall, big theme for everybody in the collective, going internal, looking within, and instead of always looking external, which is very much needed in this world right now when everybody's like, dealing with collective trauma. So I love that theme of the 7. And this really is beautiful because it kind of says, okay, if we're going to start our year off with internal work and like being in that space, like let's really take some time to get quiet and think about what we want to achieve in the physical reality. And it's also saying to me, you may have had plans in place that you thought were going to happen by the end of the year. And just because it was the end of the year, and it's I always do believe it's like a threshold of moving energetically from one year to the next. And it doesn't mean all of a sudden everything was going to be perfectly tied up in a neat little bow and taken care of and done, right? So you probably still have some objectives and some things that you've already put into motion and into place that you've been working on. And I want you to, this card is really saying continue. Go use that Mercury retrograde and that Mars retrograde as fuel to look at over the month what it is that needs revising, what you need to replan, what got course corrected for you, what got redirected. So maybe you had some plans and they didn't go as planned. And that happened to me actually. And what I want you to see it as is, oh, wow, I am really protected. And although my linear thinking mind, my logical mind, thought I knew the best way forward and possible, Divine has a way bigger plan than we can ever anticipate or imagine. One that has longevity, one that asks you in the journey to getting to where you want to go, to whatever outcome desired, that you have to work through certain things to get there. We always think like, I just want to get there and then everything will change. And it's like, but who are you in the becoming? Who are you in the becoming of the things that you truly want to have in your life and the things that, there is no destination per se. There are certain things that we wait on. We want the increase in the finances. We want, maybe our business to get to a certain level or have the relationship or have the health and all these things. And I am a proponent for all of that. I want you to have all those things. And I want you to believe that those things are coming and that you get to plan and you get to figure out who you get to be and all the things and what you're going to do to have it. But I don't want you to get discouraged if for some reason it hasn't happened yet, because timelines are tricky sometimes. That's one thing I was just talking to a fellow intuitive this morning. We were talking about how tricky timelines can be. You think it's like, I remember telling my best friend one time, this was like in 2021, I was telling her, I'm like, you're going to meet your person and it's going to be right, and you're going to spend your birthday with him. It's going to be right before your birthday, and her birthday was in July. And I happened to be in Rome with her right a week before her birthday. And she's like, oh, Dawn, I'm waiting for that guy to come in. Like, who's it going to be? And she's like, I'm going to stay in anticipation, excitement. Well, unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to see it, he didn't come until the following year. So she met him right before her birthday. She spent her birthday with him. She had the guy, he's her person, but it took an entire year longer than anticipated. So in the delays, can you trust the process? Can you see it as, okay, maybe there's a few more things I get to work on in my becoming of the embodied woman that's making this much money, or has this movement, or has this relationship, whatever it is that you desire. So use this time for January to get clear, okay? And trust the redirections of your life. Trust that if you have patience and you can come back to your faith, that everything's going to work itself out. Like, I've had more realizations, and I'm not going to get into it. I'll do another live at another point, about the level of surrender that it takes to really flow in this life. And having plans, but also trusting the grander plan. Okay. So just trust the grander plan, but do your actionable, all the things that you need to do to get in this space. So that's January's overall theme. Okay. So let's go into this week and see what wants to come alive for us. Happy New Year. So today the Capricorn stellium is ending. We will feel some opportunities. Capricorn's the go, go, go energy. So we are, it's been in place since the 22nd. So That's happening today, as a matter of fact. Then we have our first full moon of the year in Cancer on the 6th. Cancer, mother, family, all that. So just know that there might be some things that have been in the works of being illuminated, but are going to come into full illumination. Maybe celebration, maybe some letting go. Remember, full moons are not about planting seeds; they're more about awareness and culminations and letting go and seeing like what's happened. But Cancer is all about the home, the family, all that. Well, boy, have we been spending a lot of time with family. I was ready for my girls to go back to school yesterday, but it was today. Okay, so let's see. This week. Interesting. So we get move my fingers, the Trapped in Fear card. So, this card, it's an 8 card. It's all about your power. It's all about your mental capacity. It's all about your thoughts, your beliefs. And, if you are planning for the year, like it's like you don't want to start the year feeling trapped. You want to start the year feeling, okay, I am free. Nobody can take away my perception of my reality and what I'm creating. And oftentimes we, might feel trapped because we can't move as quickly through things or things aren't happening as fast. That's why I was talking about the timing of everything. So this card is a big reminder of noticing the resistance that you have in your life and your relationship to your resistance, to the things that feel like they're blocking you from moving forward. I love this card in a sense because it asks you to identify anything that is holding you hostage in your life, anything that's holding you prisoner. And really, you can Byron Katie it and asking yourself, is this really real? Can I say this is true? What would it look like if I flipped this on its head? And really got intimate. I want you to get intimate with the stories that you're telling yourself right now in the area that you feel most blocked and confused in. And sit with that and really, use this time in this quieter space to journal. And first identify, then secondly, just like think about the story that you're telling yourself around this particular area of your life, and what do you need to do in order to free yourself and liberate yourself. Because the story with this card is that the keys are in the room and you just can't see them for some reason. There's a way to get out of it, but because you're so stuck in your usual way of thinking, you can't figure the out. Like you don't know where the exit is, but the exit's already open. So I want you to think about that. Okay, if I reframe this, if I looked at this from a different perspective and I brought some ease into this, if I thought that I didn't have to figure everything out. And I spoke about this in a live last year. One of my biggest meditations that I ever had that was so profound for me was about resisting that thing, like whatever that thing is for you, and how it literally slows down the timeline. It slows down manifestation. It can cause a lot of problems because it's like whatever you're avoiding, that is like telling the universe that you're not in a space of trust. So I'll use money, for instance. If money is your thing and you feel like, oh, I'm worried about it, or I'm not making as much money as I want, figure out what your resistance might be around that. Are you not balancing your books? Are you not telling yourself the truth about it? Are you ready to try a new way of interacting with it? What will free you? If it's a relationship, same thing. It doesn't matter which area of your life it is. It's pretty simple. We all have a place in our life that we're resisting because it feels hard and it feels challenging. And that's a piece of this. Is it's like the guy's like got his hand on his head like, ugh, because it feels hard to him. It's like, oh, I'm stuck. I'm trapped. And it's kind of like the whole game, this whole reality is everything that you are thinking is creating. And so internally speaking, where do you feel trapped? Is it your health? So I'm not going to go through and give all these examples anymore, but I just want you to just like really get into the energy of this is the week to do the reframe. It's your week to liberate yourself from this story so that you have more power going into this year. I just did this because the thing that I thought was going to be my outcome that did not happen is still, I'm still dealing with it for the, the majority of this year. And I had to ask myself, well, okay, if I look at this from a perspective, yeah, on one hand, it's holding me in place in some ways. I could look at it as like, oh, I'm trapped. And then I was like, well, but if I completely reframed it, it's just a delay. It's just an extra step. It's an extra thing. And who am I in my limited capacity of knowing everything in the universe, which I don't because I'm not God? Who am I to determine the best way for this to happen? So that liberated me. I had to change my thinking around something. Otherwise, I would feel very trapped and very rigid and kind of like pissed off. And I don't want to feel that. I don't want to go into a year knowing that I have this specific journey ahead of me and think of it as like a negative, It's like, no, it's just what it is. So that's this card. I want to see, last but not least, just want to tune in and make sure. This feels root chakra oriented, so very physical reality. It could be legality issues. It could be, being blocked in work, like feeling like you're not getting the promotion. It could be money. It's very like, real world, tangible things. This, and so that's where the mind could create that story that, oh, it's always going to be like this, or oh, whatever, doomsday, catastrophic. No, don't do that. Like really find a way to reframe it because it's going to support you and it's going to move the energy. Because that was the thing that I realized in my meditation is when you stop resisting that thing and you start to change your energetic dynamic around it, then things can move and then things can actually happen quicker and shift and change. And that's what I feel like this is trying to bring you into your power around. Okay, so there's that. And root chakra is also family, so it'll be interesting to see for some of you if this has to do with your family dynamic, like because Cancer is how we mother ourselves, it's how we nurture ourselves, it's how we care for ourselves, but it's also the family. So maybe something is where you've been feeling like maybe there's like a sense of like I feel trapped in this way, but really like what is the alternative? Like what do you need to shift in order to make it go in a different direction? I'm saying that out loud and I'm like, yeah, okay, feel that. So root chakra energy, which also means we got to like take really good care of our physical bodies right now, which we should always be doing. We should always be trying to nurture ourselves. I'm so over like, somebody who said, oh, you got to slow down at this time of year. And I'm like, oh, I'm always in slow down mode lately. Slow down? If I slow down anymore, I'm going to be sleeping all day. No, I'm just kidding. I am just more relaxed than I used to be. I'm still doing stuff. I'm just joking. Okay, so the week of the 9th. And I think slow down is more of an internal state. It's not necessarily that you don't go work out or don't meditate or do the things that you're going to do to make you be healthy. It's just more of an internal thing. At least it is for me. Okay. Let me tell you the week of the 9th, what astrology might be hitting. So the halfway point on the 9th with Mercury retrograde. So you might be getting more revelations and all that kind of fun stuff. And then the 12th, the Mars moves direct, which is going to be really freaking great, by the way. I'm ruled by Mars. That's my rising, Aries rising. So I'm like, let's do this. So that's going to be closing out a chapter that's been going since October 31st, by the way. So that'll be, yeah, it's going to be good. So that's for the week of the 9th. Let's see what the card is. Memories of love. This is a card, I'm just going to write this down. This is a card of the past. And it's kind of very, whoops, my pen just fell. It kind of speaks for itself, in the sense that this is a six card. This is a card that wants harmony. This is a card of the heart. This is your emotions. And this is about you maybe looking back on fonder times in your life and things maybe were different. So it'll be helpful for you to identify that place of resistance the first week. And then going into the second week, thinking about what you need to release from the past, what you need to release. It's so weird. Like they're wanting me to say the chambers of your heart, which I find so strange to say that because it's very physical oriented. But you want, your heart is your heart health. It's your ability. It moves all. It's everything, right? If your heart's not pumping and working and beating, then you're not gonna feel good in your life. And they're talking about like clearing out all the chambers of your heart. Is there four chambers of your heart? I believe there is, but I could be wrong. Um, and how energetically speaking, clearing out the chambers of your heart. Like what's in the back rooms, what are the things that you don't pay attention to often, but are still lingering in there, whether it's like an old hurt and grievance, or, maybe you're still holding on to like that old love that you used to have. It's really this card of like they're kind of like, because it's in Mercury retrograde, so it is a review of things. But they're saying if you want to move forward to where you're going, you're going to have to clear out those heart, like clear out the heart and do the work. And I've talked about this in so many different, soul casts of like, what is the work? Forgiveness, letting go, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like this is a little bit like they're showing me a map and like a needle on a map, like a little pinpoint, like a point. Like if you know where you want to go, which is why you need to do the work these next couple of weeks of who you're becoming. And you think about where are the parts of me that are still tethered to the past in this. So whether it's, whatever storyline it is. Oh, it's my relationships. I've only had these kind of relationships, but I really by the end of the year want this type of relationship. Then what do you need to do within your heart and within yourself to change it? This feels like a lot of compassion towards self. This feels like a softening into self, but it also feels like somebody's holding up like a sacred mirror and being like, okay, cut the shit already. Like, I mean, that's kind of like, it's kind of harsh, but it's like, I don't know. I'm getting this, like, I felt this yesterday and I'm going to bring it into this. Like, yesterday I had this moment, and I don't know how, I don't know the main demographic that listens to me, but I know it's probably between 30 and 50 something. But I had a moment yesterday, and some of you will really relate to this, where I spoke to my father, my biological father, and he has Parkinson's, and we were talking about his life and all this kind of stuff, and I felt the fragility of this belief that I think I have all this time in the world to see my father, and that he's always going to be like this. Like, I've always grown up like with this like illusion of like, oh, nothing's going to change, but it's an illusion, right? Like, things do change, things do happen. And he started thinking about life and like these things that, right now my life is one way, and like, but my parents are getting older and just all this kind of stuff. And it just got me thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking about myself, and I was like, what am I doing as far as my own mortality? And I'm not saying that to be scary. I'm saying it because we all think that we have all this time in the world to show up and to be in our gifts one day, to say the thing that we want to say one day, to have the relationships we want to have, whatever. And I felt yesterday like this like thing moved through me energetically, and I was like, we do have time, of course, but we never know how much time it is. And why do we wait so much? Like, um, why do we wait so long to really give life, like show up the way we want and give fully to our lives and claim and own that which we truly want? And I made a decision that for me, um, I am going to live this year, and I'm thinking about doing a program called Fully Expressed and Embodied. I want to be fully expressed of who I am and my authenticity in everywhere I go, and I want to be really embodied. And I invite everybody into figuring out who they want to be and stop acting from a place of someday. Someday I'll be this person. Someday I'll do this thing. And, because when I was talking to my dad, I just realized no, we don't always have someday. And I know some of this is, for some of you, this is very real. Like, this is not just a thought, like you've lost a loved one. You've witnessed this. You have a you have a why can't I think of the word? This is so weird. I want to say closeness or proximity to it. It's not the word I wanted to use, but that's what it really equals: closeness and proximity to the cycles of life. So it brings me back. This is my long drawn out way of saying this week, while you're in review, let go. Let go of some of the things that no longer need to be carried on your journey, because it takes up space. It takes up your ability to move forward lightly and onto the things that you want. This one piece I want to say too is take with you the good. One of the things I always think about is the sweet, tender moments of my life, and I do carry those forward. I remember when I was a badass in sales. When I think about doing sales in my own business, I go, oh yeah, when I was in pharmaceuticals, I was the #1 sales rep for a couple of years. Like, how do I bring that back into what I do right now? There's certain things that really behoove us, and there's other things that tether you. So just cut some ties, cut some cords this week of the 9th. Think about, just use it as fuel and really clear out your heart so that you can move forward with more ease. I know that was a little heavy. I hope it's not heavy. It's just more truthful. And it's just what was coming up for me yesterday. I when I was thinking of my dad, I was like, oh man, gotta get up there and go see him. Sacramento, that is. Okay, so now I'm going to move to the week of the 16th. And let me just tell you astrologically. So then, 18th Mercury moves direct. We have our first new moon on the 21st, which will be in Aquarius. And, right? Aquarius, yeah. And, yeah. So the Sun, Moon, Venus, Saturn are all going to be in Aquarius on the first new moon. Whew, that's a lot of energy in Aquarius. And Aquarius is very different. It's all about community, collective, all that. One thing I want to say about that card that I just told you about the past, if you've been waiting on showing up in your gifts and your whatever brings you power, whatever makes you unique, the reason I told that story is stop waiting for someday. Like, just take the bull by the horns and do it already. Okay. I really want to celebrate the action that you take towards your dreams. And I don't mean you have to take it next week, but start doing the things you want to do. 16th. Okay. So let me go back to that. So we get the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny card. In this deck, it's Destiny. It's so fitting. Because astrologically speaking, we're going from all the holdups, oh my God, let me think about the past one more time. And what do I need to release? But it's always helpful, right? It's always helpful. To some momentum. And any astrology that I've listened to has said that the full-blown momentum is not going to be till March, but we'll notice an uptick, a switch in energy come the end of January. So this card, synchronicities, opportunities, the universe giving you little God wings, showing you that you're loved, showing you that you're protected and you're cared for. And I just have a thought around that. I'm saying this, I'm channeling this, but what if no matter what is happening in your life, you're always expecting that? Not from a toddler perspective, like a little toddler who wants their candy and they're going to throw a tantrum if they don't get it, which I've done that sometimes. But more from a perspective of when I am in alignment, my life flows and people and things easily come to me. And then I execute, I take action. That is your mantra for that week. I want you to think about, this is the week that starts to show you how life is in flow, how things are moving. Like you're getting out of like there's still always a post shadow of every retrograde. There's always a time where it's like it starts to the energy starts to move forward, but we feel momentum. And I want this to be, am I in the channel or am I not? And so what I mean by that, am I in the river of the flow of my life, or am I still bumping up against a lot of rocks? Am I still feeling that I'm not moving in the direction that I want? Because if you've done the work the first 2 weeks of getting rid of some where you're feeling trapped and then letting go of the past and clearing out the heart in alignment with that, because we're in patience and planning, then comes this week, it's like, okay, I start to see some things coming into alignment, maybe some new people and things come into your reality that are supportive of the direction. I want you to think about your friends and family and I take that back, not family, the friends and the community that support you in your dreams. Your family, great if they're on board with you, wonderful. But this feels more collective-ish, I think probably because of the Aquarius energy. Let me just see if there's anything else with this. Oh, they're talking about trusting your intuition when it comes to the things that land in your lap. For some of you, it'll just be really fun. It's like, oh, this thing just popped up, or this person asked me to do this collaboration, or this friend asked me to go on vacation with them. Something, it just feels like things happen that are really great, that are in the energy of what you desire. So this feels like a more playful, some new beginnings energetically, some shifts, forward momentum. Feels good. Let me see if there's anything else with this energy. I'm just picking up something blue. I see a lot of things through colors. And this week, they're saying, is significant because it gives you a preview of some of the things that are going to happen later. So they want you to really pay attention. So if anything unusual or kind of cool happens this week with your intuition or with the way people pop into your reality, kind of just take note of it, because it's a preview of a couple months later how things are going to be flowing for you. It's a fun energy. I love it. So yeah. Okay, so then we have the 23rd, and let me see, I forgot to write down, hold on a second. Okay, I just write it down because I like to see the whole storyline, and I can't do that if I'm channeling and forget. So the 23rd, like I said, that we have that'll be the week of the new moon. So check this out. Actually, the new moon's going to be on the 22nd. I apologize. We're going into the week of the 23rd. But let me just say this. Let me correct. It's the 21st, the 22nd in other time zone. When we get to, so the new moon's on the 21st, then we get to January 22nd, Uranus moves direct. So there's no more retrogrades until April 21st. So whoo, that feels nice, right? And a 5 month cycle completes. So and then we have 3 months of no retrogrades. And retrogrades aren't bad. It's just the thing they just slow things down. But Uranus um, going forward will feel, just with that final, we're going to feel some more momentum. And think about that. A 5 month cycle will complete what started, 5 months ago in your life. Just like, kind of go backwards and see what was that? Because that'll feel really good to have some completion on it. And Uranus is the planet of surprise and change and all that kind of stuff. Okay, Uranus. Am I saying it wrong? Uranus. I never said I was the most professional person. I bring it to you real and in the moment. Okay. The 23rd. Accelerated motion. Well, I mean, that's kind of fitting considering that we're getting out of all those damn retrogrades, and things finally are going to feel like, hey, let's go. Um, so this is, we're just picking up speed, right? We're kind of starting off the month like, okay, we got a little more work to do, and then all of a sudden in January it kind of goes a little bit like, oh, things are synchronicities, feeling good, and then it like picks up. And this is spiritual acceleration. And we are in a spiritual, I'm always, we're as souls, we're always in elevation and acceleration and all that kind of stuff if you're on the path of doing the work. And acceleration and elevation doesn't always mean easy. And I'm not saying that to be a downer, but my elevation, a lot of it last year was in confronting parts of myself and doing a lot of shadow work, actually. It's very liberating, but it's work. And so this card, it's 8, so it's power. It's spiritual, so you're going to feel very connected to your purpose, very connected, hopefully, to your why, because you've taken some time this month to really be with yourself and really get in the energy of where you would love to see things go. And so I highly suggest this week to spend some time getting reconnected, so you think about who you want to become, and make sure in that you're really aligning with, hopefully, your purpose and the why of why you're here on this planet and what it is that you want to do. And please know it changes. I mean, what I was doing 2 years ago is completely different than what I'm going to be stepping into in this year. Like, let yourself shift identity, shed old skins, all that kind of fun stuff, and really let there be momentum. When it's spiritual momentum, it feels more internally directed to me versus external. When things are external, it's very that much the 3D reality. This is more of inside of yourself. You're really sensing the momentum and the ways that you're connected to your life and really what you want to do. And that's the framework. They're talking so much about, like, the framework of your reality. If you can always remember that you are a soul, this is my belief, it doesn't have to be yours, but a soul that incarnated on this planet to learn and to step into your gifts and purpose. Why do we do all this stuff? I mean, I often joke with my friends, God, I remember there's a time in my life when I didn't even think about a Mercury retrograde, or I didn't think about my impact on other people. I was just living my life. I'm talking about when I was in my 20s, and even in, it wasn't until my, like, around 30, I started kind of thinking, like, wait, me, we. And this week of the 23rd, I want you to think about the we. How do you impact the we? How do you show up in such a way that your gifts are medicine for the world? Because if you're thinking just about yourself, I'm going to call you out. And it's okay if you're younger, because, hey, I did it too. But, like, if you're a mature woman like myself, A late 40 something, then whatever. I'm teasing, I'm being silly, I'm bringing humor into this, but it's not about just ourselves and what we can get from this thing. We come to this planet where there's so much of an undoing for so many years of our lives, undoing the programming, the thinking, the everything that we took on that's not really ours. And then you kind of like change the direction of life, and then you're like, well, who do I really want to be? And then it's figuring out who you want to be. And then I hope the rest of your life is being that person and showing up in your gifts and doing the things and letting life take you in a direction, because you're not afraid anymore. We live so much of our lives in fear of fear. This isn't going to happen. Fear, I'm not going to have this. The truth is, yeah, some things you're not going to have. Some things you will. Like, life is going to be a big freaking gift for you if you just see it as like everything is working out in my favor. And things accelerate, and you have the elevation you want when you see it like that. You see the redirections, the pauses, the detours as the redirections. You see the big no's in your life, not as like, oh my God, I must not be loved by God because God said no to me. It's like, no, maybe this time it's a no, but try again. It's just a fail, it's like it's a failed attempt. And I've said this a million times. Think about little babies when they're learning to walk. They fall on their asses over and over and over again before they finally like stand up tall. And then they get up, and one day they're a little wobbly, but they walk and they just go, and they never look back. They just said, oh yeah, it's just part of their evolution. Well, what if, as a spiritual beings, we are babies sometimes, and every attempt we make to stand up and stand tall and do the things that we're doing, stay in our gifts, make the money, get the relationship, do the things, you're going to fall on your ass sometimes, right? You're going to fall. And then you just get back up until you walk, and then you never look back at that one thing again, because then you're on to the next elevation or evolution within yourself. And it becomes, instead of this like, oh my God, this is so hard, because it is. Life can be really freaking challenging. But it's like, wow, I meet my challenges with grace and trust and faith. And I believe in my heart of hearts that it can be easy. And I don't mean easy as in it's always going to go exactly the way you want, but I mean easy in the sense that you've got yourself. You're not going to just give up. You're going to give back to this reality in the sense of giving your authenticity and who you are and your purpose and your gifts to those around you. And then when you do that, you see things just push you forward. It's like a slip and slide they're showing me. It's like, like you run up to the slip and slide, and then you go whoosh, and you just fly across the lawn on the slip and slide because there's momentum. And that's what they're saying is this whole week. And that was my little Donnell sermon for you today about I am going to be fully expressed this year. I'm very excited. Okay, and so then just for the last piece, we only have 2 days, 30th and 31st. I'm just going to pull a card just for those 2 days, and then we're going to close this up. How long have I been doing this? I'm not sure. Oh, almost an hour. I had a lot to say. Woo! Oh my God. Just for 2 days. Thank God we have this card. Just for 2 days. Hold on. Let me write this down. So deception and envy. This card's no fun to me. Every time I get this card for a client or I just see it, I'm just always like, But it serves a purpose. And I am going to say, if it's wrapping up the final month of patience and planning, make sure as you're ending the month that you do just a little final clear out. And the final clear out is this. Where in myself am I lying to myself or deceiving myself? Where in my reality, when I'm moving forward towards who I'm becoming, are there any people that are not supportive? And do a final clear out. Clear out your social media. Clear out anything that takes you away from the patience and planning of who you want to become. Use these 2 days. It's just literally 2 days. And then for some of you, this may be very literal. You may have somebody that's literally a deceiver in your life, and the shit's gonna come clean. Like I have said this a million times over. If you want to know the truth of your life, if you think somebody's being is deceiving you, or you think something's off, just ask God. Just be like, God, please show me what it is I need, the truth of the situation that I need to know in order to move forward, even more so than I already know now. And it's revealed. So if there's anything sticky those last couple days, because we're coming out of like a really beautiful spiritual, like that acceleration card, and feeling like we're in our purpose. And so if there's anywhere that you're still, it's sticky, that you're lying to yourself around your patience and planning and what you want to create, use these 2 days to clear it out. The deceitfulness that we have towards ourselves, maybe towards other people, towards you. And then last but not least, for anybody, this may be so literal where like somebody is like somebody or person is like just revealed, like the truth of them is revealed to you. No big thing. Hey, let it be revealed, because you don't want to be walking around with this crazy energy, right? But a lot of times when this card is pulled, it's usually like the lies that we tell ourselves, and even the lies that we've perpetuated with others that we're a part of, that have made us feel safe. And it's like ripping off the Band-Aid and being like, okay, like let's stop deceiving, and let's not play this game, so that we can really move forward in a more energetically aligned way. That's what it's all about. Nothing to be scared of. So that is the energy. I mean, what I feel like is really coming from, like I said, is a quieter start to the month, with the Trapped in Fear, and the Memories of Love card, reviewing of the past, letting go of where we're feeling stuck and stagnant, and then moving into the Wheel of Fortune and the spiritual acceleration, where we're feeling really great about things and we're stepping more into what we want to be working on. We are going to feel energetic momentum because of the change of the astrology. And then those last 2 days, just like really cleaning house and more like it's almost like a fine-tooth comb, like just like cleaning out like any last tangles or snags energetically that would keep you moving forward into February. So much love to you guys. That was a little bit of a longer one, but if you go on my YouTube channel, it's broken down by weeks now. There's timestamps, and so it'll be easier for you if you want to do it that way. Also, my Received program, if you missed the release, we are doing Receive this Thursday. You can still get the release. It was an amazing breathwork, journal prompts, all that kind of juiciness to close out last year. And then Receive is this Thursday. If you're interested in joining, message me and I can send you the details. Okay, have a beautiful January. And I will see you next week with the Embodied oh my gosh, Embodied Oracle Show. I haven't said that in a while. I was going to say Embodied Empress. Embodied Oracle Show. Okay, bye.